What's going on, you guys? So I wanted to make this video just to kind of go through my thought process on what's going on with the indices like NASDAQ 100, S&P 500, the Dow Jones, US 30. Um, we're kind of seeing a shift. We've seen price start to rally pretty intensely over the last couple days. So if you're in the forex market, you're looking at about 14,796 pips. If you are in the stock market, trading on Webull or something like that, if you were to be on the NASDAQ 100, you're looking at 1,479 points, which is pretty crazy for the indices to do in, the last 2 weeks. So when I'm looking at the NASDAQ 100, I'm looking at the 4-hour chart. I see an option to buy. So right now I'm using our DeFi Da Vinci cheat code to kind of give me a confirmation that the buy is valid. So if I was to shut this off, you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. We have a nice push to the upside. Price comes back down, and we're retesting support right here. And we are seeing some rejection. We see the last two candles have rejected off of this zone. We're going to have a new 4-hour open up here pretty soon. And if that starts to push to the upside, what I'm going to want to see is price move above the next resistance zone. So if we scroll out, you can see it's decently strong. We have a lot of touches in this area. So if price can break above this and then come down and retest it, that's where I'm really going to be looking to take a buy position. I don't really have set stops. I do know that if, let me hide all this. Let me make this bigger. So if price were to come back down into here, I guess it's going to just show my drawings. So if price was to come back down into here and we were to push below that, I don't think I'd want to stay in the trade anymore, because then we would have potential to come down to here. And if you're in the Forex market, this is 3,599 pips. It's not really something we're willing to risk. If you're in the stock market, it's still 359 points. So it's a decent amount to lose if we're going to hit stop loss down there. And then you definitely wouldn't want to add any more wiggle room, because you could see price just fall all the way back down into zones down here and even lower. So I'm trying to keep stops tight here. So if we get something like this where price pushes above and comes back down and retests, then I will be looking to take a buy. You could have take profits somewhere in this zone. If you look left, you can see where this is touching. You could even hold indefinitely and just move stops and control them tightly, which is generally what I do when I'm taking trades. Is I'll place a trade, and instead of putting a take profit on it, I'll just move stop losses accordingly. So if price was to move up to here, come back down, and then we pushed above, I would then move my stop losses from wherever they were down here to up here, so on and so forth. If we push up off of this, I would move my stop loss down below this support zone. So then when I'm looking at the DeFi Da Vinci cheat code, I can turn this on. We can see that the last two notifications it gave us was to buy, and then we do have a break above. You could see that it has plotted its own resistance here, and we do have a break above, and now we are coming down to retest. We also have a cross on our moving averages, so this is always a good sign for me to take a buy. They are starting to spread out nicely, which means to me that we're seeing a lot of volume in a bullish direction for the NASDAQ 100. So that's just another confirmation for me to get in. Now, if price does shift above this, we probably will see this black line move up here, and this will now become support, this will now become support, and this will become resistance. So if we do break above that, it would just be another confirmation for me to enter on a pullback. My style of trading is pretty simple. I'm generally looking at fundamentals to develop a bias. And with last week, the inflation, or actually this, was it this week or last week? One of the two. We did see, so this week we've seen PPI come out, and that came in a little bit lower than expected, which signals a sign of a dampening or a slowdown in inflation. Now I know a lot of people are like, inflation's not slowing down. Have you seen the prices? I know. But these numbers, what people are seeing in the grocery stores is really dictating their spending habits. But when it comes to the investor side, you're seeing a lot of people see these numbers, and these numbers look pretty for them because when inflation comes out lower, we've been seeing these consistent rate hikes. Um, and when inflation comes in lower, that kind of starts to tell traders that, hey, the Federal Reserve thinks what they're doing is working. So when it comes to the next rate hike, which is January 2nd, I believe, we're going to see something like maybe 50%. The last, I think, four, we've seen 75, and then we might see a 50. So if we see a 50, traders are going to go crazy. They're going to say, okay, they're starting to slow down on the rate hikes, and they're looking to stable out the economy again. And so traders are pricing this in early. They see the low inflation reports. CPI came out last week. CPI came out, in my opinion, significantly lower than expected. So I mean, traders are starting to price that in now. So, like I said, that gives me a bias that traders are going to start to put money back into things like the indices. They're looking for, I guess, a little bit more of a safer place to put their money. I think that we're seeing a lot of money being pulled from crypto to begin with. So I think people are trying to get to safe havens, which is why we've seen such a run on the dollar. But now we're starting to see the dollar decline, and people are starting to move money back into the markets a little bit. So I definitely think we could see a buy here. It's 5:43 on November 16th. It's a Wednesday. So we will see the market open back up in about 17 minutes for the indices. And, I mean, we're looking to take a buy somewhere in this zone, and we're going to be looking to take a buy somewhere in this zone. So if you're feeling a little bit more risky, you could take a buy here, but I just need a little bit more confirmation of a little bit of a trend change and price to start pushing to the upside and give me something like a pullback where I could enter on. All right, so I hope that helps you guys kind of understand what's going on in the indice market a little bit. Now, this was just the NASDAQ. If you look at S&P 500 and US 30, they're doing very similar things. So you kind of pick your poison, I guess, whatever you're willing to get into. But I do see some long potential here for the indices over the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it may be. Thanks for watching, and reach out if you guys have any questions. Thanks.